Alright, I'm going to be showing you guys how I like to inoculate my LC jars with an agar plate. So, the recipe that I'm using for my LC is the Super LC recipe by Golden Teacher, or Philly Golden Teacher. And it's got light malt extract, caro, and a little bit of peptone, and it has extremely quick growth. I'm very happy with it. So I already wiped down my whole work area. I'm just going over this one last time. So I got this, I got my agar plate, which is also already wiped down really well. Sometimes I like to use these ketchup cups, sometimes I'll use petri dishes. A lot of times if I'm saving the culture, I'll put it in an actual petri dish, and then I'll throw it in my fridge. But if it's something like this where I'm just gonna get a use out of it real quick and then toss it, or if I'm inoculating grain and I'm gonna cut it up and drop it in, it's actually a lot easier just to cut it in there and then you just squeeze it and it all just falls right in, rather than having to scrape it out piece by piece with a petri dish. So I actually prefer these when I'm inoculating my grains. But anyway, that's besides the point. So now that everything's all wiped down, I'm gonna get my scalpel ready. Anything that goes in your flow hood or in your still air box has got to get wiped down real well before it goes in there. Alright, so there's that. That's just something I can set my knife and my scraper on too. And I like to, pretty frequently, especially if I'm grabbing things that I haven't already sterilized, I frequently just keep wiping my hands down in between, moving things in here, moving things out. It's better safe than sorry when you're doing this. Alright, so I just sprayed this down with rubbing alcohol. I'm going to wipe it down really well. This is my scraper. So I'm going to use to scrape it. You could really use whatever, preferably something made out of metal. But if it's something that's a one-time use and it's already pre-sterilized, you can use plastic or whatever you can get your hands on. Alright, now I've got those ready. I'm going to wipe my lighter down. You can use one of those induction heater sterilizers. You can use a lighter, you can use a torch, you can use a Bunsen burner. I actually prefer a Bunsen burner or something like that, because it just stays lit. You don't have to touch anything. It stays lit. Whenever you need it, you just go take your tool, put it over it, and you're good to go. But right now I have a lighter, so that's what I'm going to use. So we'll start out. Getting this all heated up and sterilized. Let's get it going. Type this. It actually would have been better to sterilize this a little bit beforehand so that it could cool naturally. I try to avoid, even if I have an alcohol rag on me, I try to just avoid touching it after I've sterilized anything. You will probably get a little bit of black soot if you're using a lighter when you're scraping your stuff, but soot's not going to hurt it. Right down my hands again. Since I pressure cooked this jar, I left it a little bit loose when I was pressure cooking it. Since there's liquid in there, it has a good chance of the jar breaking if you tighten it down all the way. So as soon as the pressure went down on my PC, tighten it down, and sometimes that'll give you a pretty good seal in the cap. So sometimes you got to use something to kind of break it loose. So we're gonna see how this one looks. But as soon as I take this ring off right here, I'm gonna set this out of the way. And before I try and open it, I'm gonna wipe the edge of this, even though there's a really low chance of anything being on there. Like I said, it's just better safe than sorry. I have almost a 0% contamination rate doing this. If I know I'm working with a clean plate and I follow the steps properly, how I'm showing you, I very, very, very rarely get contamination in my LC. Alright. Got that there. Spray lights one more time. That's the agar that I'm working with. If anybody's interested in the recipe that I use, I'm pretty happy with it. I can share it with you. That's ready. Hopefully this is nice and cooled down now. We're about to see. Yep. Alright, so yeah, what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna scrape the surface of this. Try not to touch the edges of the dish. Scrape all the way around. And then I can actually leave this right here out for a couple weeks and it'll actually just grow all the way back on there, so you can reuse this dish. But that is nice and loose. Sometimes, like I said, you have to use something to pry it off and loosen it up. That feels nice and loose, so I'm just going to open this real quick, take this, just knock it right in there. I'm going to try and be as quick as you can while still being careful. Alright, that's that. And then I like to hold the cap down like this while I screw it on. Sometimes catch and pick it up a little bit. But that's it. So from there, I'm just going to put it on the stir it up for a minute or two, and then just let it rest until tomorrow. And then I like to stir it every day for a couple minutes. And within a week to 10 days, it should be fully colorized. Thanks for watching.